Hello, dear viewers and language lovers. We are here back for a new video about language break because I've noticed that I didn't see uh, any language learner or polyglot speaking about it. So technically, what is a language break? It's just a certain amount of time when you don't do anything in this language. So that's basically your language break. And when should you take a language break? When should you go for a language break? It really depends. We have approximately as far as I'm concerned, two ways to measure when we will have to go for a break. The first one is the amount of material you have already studied. So what we usually do is that we take a few beginner textbooks like Teach Yourself, SML, Colloquial. It's good to start by one of them, and then when you finish one, you go to the second one. You finish the second one, maybe you want to go to the third one. This is actually good because you have a repetition of in another way in the second book of what you have already learned in the first book. So for instance, I'm learning Vietnamese. I have completed SML and I started Teach Yourself Vietnamese, and it's a breeze. Like, SML was better for when you don't have any knowledge because it's shorter, it's random, it's not so theoretical, and Teach Yourself is very well organized. It's like a dialogue about everyday topic, and it's pretty long as dialogue for a beginner. But as I already studied 80 hours of SML, then moving to Teach Yourself was smooth. I can enjoy those dialogues without looking up every other word. So now I'm not ready for a language break because I need to complete at least 3 basic courses and 2 intermediate courses. If I get to this level, I will be at a level where I will not forget all what I've been going through. This is very important because if we take a language break too early, we maybe might think, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to learn any Vietnamese or any Romanian or any Swahili more because I got bored, and the objective or the aim is not to quit learning. It's just to take a break. And so if we are taking this approach of the amount of materials we have already studied, then I would recommend 2 to 3 beginner books and 2 to 3 intermediate books or a podcast, and then it will be okay to take a break because you have already learned a lot, and you're not going to forget what you have been learning. And the other way to quantify or to see when it's suitable to take a break is by the amount of time invested. I would say if you study 30 minutes a day, which is very good, you can reduce it to 20 minutes. You can use this this time slot every day to learn your language, your target language. And then if we're talking about a very difficult language to you, everything it depends on your native language. But if you are, let's say, a classical example, you're American trying to learn Korean, Vietnamese, Hindi, Arabic, Turkish, anything which is very exotical and is not so related to your mother tongue. So I would recommend to spend at least 150 to 200 hours of studying. If you have half an hour a day, it would be between 300 days and let's say 400 days. So you can see it's between 1 year and 1 year and a half, something like that. If you keep doing your everyday process, then you will not forget the language, because it's very progressive and you have not learned too much at once, so you will not forget and you repeat every day. So it becomes a habit to speak in Swahili or to speak in Arabic or to form phrases a certain way, to pronounce certain things. So this is another way. And if we are talking about easy languages, maybe if you keep learning 30 minutes a day, I would say 6 months would be enough. If you already speak Italian and you're learning Spanish, or if you're Dutch, you're learning German, those easy languages which are really related to another language that you already speak, then 6 months are enough to take a break, because you will have a solid foundation. But keep in mind, if you are going for a challenging one, like a very exotical one, then maybe 1 year, 1 year and a half. And for how long do you have to take this break? You can determine it yourself. But if you still have interest in the language, then I would recommend 1 week or 1 to 2 weeks. Otherwise, if you are already fluent and you have experience in this language, after this intermediate stage, you have already spoken to the natives like at least 50 times, 100 times, then it would be good to take a break a few months to a few years. In my case, I've taken a break for Spanish for a long time, because I wanted to venture into more special languages which are different from European languages. So I went for Farsi, Arabic, what else? Japanese at some time. What else? Arabic, Farsi, Japanese, Bulgarian, Slavic languages. So it was very interesting to take a break from Western European languages to go to Eastern European and Asian languages. So the last point I wanted to discuss with you is, why should we take a break? Sometimes our brain needs to cool down, and if you do that, you will see that you are still learning even if you don't do anything, because you allow your brain to have a certain amount of time to process the information that it has been given. So maybe it can be interesting in the middle of the process to have a break, but not too long than 1-2 days. The very thing you want to do or want to apply is that you don't want to overwhelm your brain with too much information at once, because you will lose motivation and you will not carry on learning. So we don't want to do that. We just want to keep on learning a little bit every day, very steadily, and in a long period of time. If we do that, at least as mentioned before, 1 year, 1.5 years, I think we will not forget it. We will maybe have some downs and then forget some words, but we will still be able to communicate in the language, because we laid down the foundation. And if we take a break that is too long before laying down the foundation, then we will forget the language. So yeah, and why do we take also breaks? Because we want to vary what we do. If we are interested in, let's say, Latin America, we'll learn some Spanish and Portuguese, and then maybe we get bored, because passion is like a roller coaster, and we said, maybe I'm gonna go for Korean, or I'm gonna go for Hindi, or for Russian. And then we say, okay, let us move to something else, and we go to Hindi or to Korean, and then we study a few years Korean, and then your burning desire to improve your Spanish comes again, and then you go to Spanish, and you leave a little bit this Hindi or Russian aside that you have been working on for a few years, and you jump from one region to another region. And by doing this, you can become a polyglot. A polyglot needn't doesn't have to speak perfectly all the languages, but at least it would be very interesting to be able to communicate in a very natural way and not stumble across every word. And that's it, pretty much. What do you think about taking breaks? Do you apply this? What's your take on it? Please share in the comments, and I'll be happy to comment your reactions if I get the chance to do so. Thank you very much, and have a nice day. Bye bye.